This meeting's called to order at 1:45. If we could please have the do y'all do the invocation, or you just have a moment of silence? Okay, we'll have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Alrighty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we'll move on to consent agenda. The minutes, did everyone get a chance to kind of brief over those? So if you want, somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 23rd, 2025.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, and let's call for the vote. You want to do roll call? I guess all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. And we don't have any citizen comments? Okay. So let's move on to discussion. Presentation and report on the status municipal animal services shelter by Ray.
All right. This is gonna be a fun one. Just kind of give an update of where we are and kind of what's been happening the last since January, our last meeting. We have had a big spike in dog intake. As you'll see in about it'll be in about January, you'll see it's really spiking up. We had the most dogs we've ever taken in March. We took in 91 dogs, which the most we ever had prior to that was 67. That is based on, we got Mindy on. I'm going to introduce her here in a little bit, but she's really just taken off with the adoptions, and we were able to actually get out into the streets, and we're starting to do a lot more enforcement and cleaning up the dogs off the streets more. And we also had a large intake of puppies that month, so we definitely have been increasing our intakes quite a bit. Our dog intakes by jurisdiction, kind of breaking it down, just dogs. January we brought in 29, 46, 67, and then we brought in the 91 and well, I'm trying to do math quick. 50, about 60 some. So we definitely have brought in a lot more dogs. Cats, we've brought in quite a few cats, but about 11 or so is the max, which isn't really that bad. Our live release rate, in April, we actually got to 93%. And again, I'm going to give Mindy a lot of credit for that, for the adoption program that she's really getting up and going. We did have a very low month in March with 72%. But overall, we're maintaining that live release rate. Our length of stay at the shelter, we are keeping it down between, it looks like 5 and 6 days for dogs, and even less than cats. So that's one of the goals that we have to do, is we have to have an average live release rate, or an average length of stay at the shelter. The lower it is, that means we're moving animals through the shelter in a fast manner, and we're not getting a clog, and we're able to save more lives that way. Our field calls, we definitely kind of slowed down January, February, March a little bit, but April we picked back up to 126 calls total that we did. And fun stuff here. In November, I didn't get a chance to introduce, this is Officer Josh Jones. He comes with us with about 3 years of experience from City of Weatherford. and he is a problem-solving machine. So we're really happy to have him on board. We have a problem dog area, and first thing he does, he's figuring out where they're going, how they're getting there, and what kind of things we need to do to get it done. He can fix just about anything, so he's been really good to have on the team. And Mindy Henry, she came here from January 6th. She has a ton of experience. She's worked for Mansfield for quite a few years. She ran the city of Cleburne, worked Weatherford, and Denton for a while. She has a ton of experience in her job. What she's doing here is she's doing the life saving. She's getting the animals were coming in. She's getting them out. Before we even got our adoption trailer, which that's coming up, she's been going out to PetSmart, setting up tables. You'll see her down there, and she's adopting. She's going to Pickle Parade, Mansfield, all kinds of different locations, and getting our face out there and getting a lot of the animals adopted. So we're super excited to have her on the team as well. The ordinances for both cities are complete. We are still waiting for the codes to get finished, but it's pretty much right there, done. We've been taking animals to get spay and neutered before the adoptions. Mindy's been taking care of that. She is definitely very adamant about spay and neuter. Yes, we will go with that. And the really super exciting, cool thing, we ordered the mobile adoption center in June, late May, June of last year, and it's finally here, done and wrapped. The design, Mindy did the design, very, very, very cool design, where even it has QR codes where it'll take you straight to websites, take you straight to the Facebook page, and it's very modern. I have it out back so everybody can see it today. So, and also with the ordinance change that we all had talked about here, we do a mandatory microchip. So she has done 2 microchip clinics, one in Forest Hill and one in Everman. And we're still offering free microchips, which we had a bunch of microchips donated to us, so we could do that. And we're still offering them for free for people coming in. And when we're out in the field, we're also educating people on the microchips.
But safer just to keep it on mute. I'd like to do a few more of those in fall. It's hard to get people to come out when it's so hot. Usually we're set up in a parking lot, so that can be kind of dangerous with people waiting in line and things, but I do hope to continue to do those. We got over 300 microchips donated, so that's a cost savings of about $2,100 on our end. So I do intend to do more of that, especially now that we have the trailer.
So I have a quick question. When you did the microchip in Forest Hill and then the one in Everman, do you have a count of how many you did?
Yes, I think we got 12 to 15. I think it was 15 in Forest Hill and 12 in Everman.
I've been asked many, many times since then, when are we going to do it again? So I think that was a good first run, but definitely looking forward to another
For
one
sure.
because everybody's asking me. But with that, they can go to the animal shelter and get them done? Okay,
Yes.
so I need to make sure we spread that because I didn't know what to tell them.
Yes,
Yes,
and
and I'll
just make
share
sure
it.
they call first.
Call first?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll share it again on our social media page. It's Microchip Your Pet Month for the month of May. And I hadn't shared the free post on social media, but I'll share it again this afternoon. That way, if Forest Hill wants to share it on your community page, you can share it, because it's for Everman and Forest Hill residents. I mean,
So you have you share it, you have a picture or something that you can just text to me?
yeah, I sure
Okay,
can.
I would love that. And
I
then
will
we
do
can
that.
share. But you want them to call first and make sure there's availability and then bring their pet to get it microchipped. Okay.
Just in case, like Saturday, for example, Dakota will be there by himself, and I will be at an adoption event out of town.
Okay.
So he may not be able to just handle walk-ups very easily, but if they
Okay.
call ahead of time and give us an ETA, we can usually fit them in pretty quick.
Okay, and microchipping's just for dogs, right?
Dogs or cats?
You can do cats?
Mm-hmm.
Still need to check my Gus and see. I swear his flipped out. Either that or flipped out.
With Mindy starting to do the adoption events, this is just a list of the events that she's done and the events that are coming up. She has, I mean, she's been in Mansfield, Burleson, and of course we've been here in Everman and Forest Hill. So we're trying to get out. We're trying to get everywhere that we can. Yes, ma'am. I will get that done. Okay. And then the bottom chart here, this was a total, so in March, she got a total of 11 animals adopted out and 15 animals adopted out at each one of at each month using these events. And this is even before we have the mobile adoption unit. This weekend will be the first time that the mobile adoption center is going to be taken out. So don't break it.
So the 11 and the 15 were adopted from the mobile unit at an event? Oh,
Yeah, no, this was just offsite events.
oh, the first, okay.
Yeah, these were
And
adopted
you'll be where?
offsite.
I will be at the truck yard in Fort Worth. They're doing a huge wolf stalk with fundraising and all kinds of stuff, and we are the only municipality that was invited.
Yay.
So that's awesome.
That is awesome.
I kind of invited myself, but whatever.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
And you'll see down below in that chart that the adoptions and transfers, our transfers have been really high, but the goal has been, I would like to see our transfers and our adoptions being equal. So, we're getting out there, and as you can see, as the increase since Mindy's been here in January, that number's shooting up with our adoptions. So it's going really well.
Where are they being transferred to? Just different agencies?
Yeah, different
Rescues?
agencies. They're going to, well, actually, some of our other municipal agencies have taken some, but rescue groups have taken some. We're also working with, we're trying to get some grants to where Best Friends will actually pay another organization to take some of our animals. So we're trying to work that out right now, and it's not finished by any means, but we're working on some of those things.
So are y'all also making sure on these rescues that they're reputable? They're not just fly by night where you're gonna have a nightmare come back later?
Yes, sir. There are some that we do not work with because of past issues. And, we do follow up, make sure they have their 501c3 and they have good references. Just some quick field highlights of things we've done. We had a pack of, there's a pack of dogs. They live in Fort Worth, but they come into Forest Hill to eat, and then they go back into Fort Worth. so we've been after. They were out there last year. I thought they were gone, but they popped back up, and one of them had a litter of puppies. And you see Josh up there had to crawl through the woods, and they actually were down inside a den. He had to crawl on his, get on his hands and knees, and he's reaching in there grabbing these little dogs. And when we went out there, because that grass, the weeds are so high in that wooded area, I'm going to tell on myself here, but he thinks it's fun. Luckily his camera wasn't on, but that mama dog always runs, but because we got close to her puppy, she shot up out of there and barking at me with hackles up, and I screamed.
Oh my God, like a girl?
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, I never heard the end of it for a while, but yeah. And then, of course, up there we have a potbelly pig that we're getting out of the truck because I'm trying to catch up with Miss Mary. And then down below, Dakota has a litter of puppies, which we actually had sedated a dog and found out that she was in milk and had the puppies. And we looked everywhere. Sergeant Kilgore came out with the drone. We threw it up and looked at a few houses with thermal, couldn't find them. Dakota went out the next day and just knocked on doors and actually found the puppies. So
Very
You know,
good.
so they weren't out there, you know, suffering without mom. So he did a really good job with that. And some of the shelter highlights. Mindy has turned one of our runs into a photo studio. So when there's no dog in there, she has it all set up where she can make that photo studio there. The pictures, I don't know if you've been watching Facebook, I've been having a lot of people comment of how they're really enjoying the posts in the Facebook. And then the kennels up there, Hearst was getting rid of some of their dog kennels, and we drove up there and picked up some, so we got some small dog cages now, so it'll help with increasing our capacity a little bit if things come up. And that's pretty much the highlights of everything. Everybody, any questions or? And if you'd like, we could take a quick recess if you want to go out and see the adoption trailer.
The only question that brings up, and I don't know if this is part of this part yet, but what about the new shelter status?
Yes, that was, yeah, yes.
So do we want to take, y'all
Yeah.
want to take a break? We'll just quick
Yeah, you wanna take
recess
a
and
quick
go
break?
out?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes at 2:01. back in regular session at 2:10. And do we want to discussion of upcoming events and plans?
Okay, so what I'd really like to see us discuss, so we have the mobile adoption center, we have a lot of things progressing. I think the next big thing I'd really like the advisory board to start taking under advisement and thinking about is the new shelter. Everything's really set up. We have the land set up. We were working on a grant that kind of fell through, so we're working on some new things, but the new shelter is definitely what I'd like to start discussing and moving forward, making sure we do everything right on the front end so we're able to grow into it.
What specifically are you asking for? What do you need to help facilitate it quicker,
To make it quicker.
or whatever needs to be? In other words, what are you needing from the board?
At this time, I'm not even for sure. I know we just need to, I know the city of Everman has the land going forward. We just need to get the funding together so we can get it started. We really just have to get it started. So I don't know yet. I honestly don't know what we're going to do with what steps, but I'd like to, definitely as a collaboration between cities, that we're working towards this, and even the possibility down the road to where, like Tri-Cities is another shelter here in the Metroplex. They have 3 different cities that they service. I talked to Williamson County. They have a shelter, and they service 6 different cities. So we're sitting at a spot to where, we're very progressive now here. We're moving forward. I would like to see us even maybe bring more agencies on possibly, but we can't do that unless we have the capacity to do that. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for what the board would like us to do as well. What
We definitely need to look for grants. I know that, I think the status of that past grant was, am I correct, it didn't work out for us? So I know that's one thing we definitely, since grants are kind of starting to pop up a little bit here and there, very, very few, we definitely need to keep an eye on that. I know we talked about Kennedale maybe partnering with us at some point. Is there anything from them?
I have not heard anything from them at this time, but I think we're just in that point where we want to really start getting in and talking to people and find out who does want to join. And
Yeah, it's the finances.
yeah.
And I know Tarrant County, I'm not sure if that's an option for us, but I know we need Tarrant County funding a lot for streets and projects like that as well. So it kind of, you have to decide which way and what's your best option. But there's something out there. We'll figure something out. Everybody just kind of keep that on your mind and think about and listen, and especially you have great connections that maybe somebody can give us an alternative to how they got started. Do we start small and continue with the old one, or, what do we do? So everybody kind of keep your minds open to that.
Well, where is it at right now? Is there any money at all for a shelter, or, is it just still on the drawing board, or, what steps is it at right now?
That would probably be Craig.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure.
No more hiding.
So there is not any funding that has been specifically allocated for this to this point. The proposed project cost that we've anticipated to this point is about $2 million to build the new station. Fortunately, because we have land, that's a big part of the cost that we don't have to worry about. So $2 million is strictly for the construction of the building. And it's a pretty ample facility for the way operations are today. Now, if additional cities were to come on, we believe that we probably need to look at increasing that a little bit, adding some more capacity above and beyond what's in the original design. We do have asset value in the land that we currently have and the shelter that we currently have. Somewhere to the tune of, our ballpark is 300,000. We have not had that fully appraised, but I would imagine that the appraised value of that land and current shelters at least 300,000. That if we were to acquire a new shelter, the city has no interest at this point, or plan for use of that land. Would probably be best suited to sell that land off and roll those proceeds from that sale back into the acquisition of this building. So that leaves us with about $1.7 million left that we've got to figure out how to finance. One of the problems is it's hard to finance it jointly with other cities because you're talking about trying to convince other cities and other municipalities and taxpayers to commit to a 30-year, either a 30-year bond program or a 5, 7, 10-year tax note when it's not their asset. So we had that pretty hard conversation about a year ago with the cities of Kennedale and cities of Forest Hill, sat down and when we were first conceptualizing this before we even had our first drawings and kind of outlined how we could go about it. And the response was the best way to move forward likely is for the city of Everman to build it and then to try to seek revenue back to offset those costs through those agreements. So we're still looking at what those models look like. We would be to take a loan out for this or a bond or tax note, somewhere to the tune of $150,000 to $200,000 a year is what those payments would look like to pay that back. So we've just got to figure out how we're gonna officially move forward with this. We're in a really dynamic time outside of animal shelter when we talk about finances with the city. We're in a real dynamic time, and this budget year will be significantly interesting, I think, for most municipalities in Tarrant County. As you know, the TAD has changed their procedures. That's had an impact on our budget. We don't know how much of an impact it actually has had because fortunately for Everman, we've had about a 13% growth in our tax base because of development. So, but yet we're looking at other cities that haven't had that high of a percentage growth, and we're seeing a reduction in revenue there. So I would imagine that would mirror here. We're going to see an increase this year. Unless something changes with TAD appraisals, we may not see an increase the years following. So it's just a lot of different things, a lot of different variables we're having to try to figure out and where we're going to spend those dollars going back. And then, of course, you've got, council members that are pushing for tax rate reductions and things as well. So it's just a matter of trying to find that perfect balance in between and get everybody happy. I think ideally, if we can figure out what the cost would be annually, and then get back to the table with Kennedale and Forest Hill, find out what those increases would be to offset that and see if they'd be amenable to those increases. That's probably going to be our most opportune time. I think that's something that we might be able to take a step off into this budget and probably need to have those conversations this budget and see what's amenable for each city this fiscal year. So, but if we can identify the funding source, we're ready to move forward. Land's acquired. It's going to have to either go design build. I prefer design build personally, rather than going out through an RFP. It's usually faster, cheaper for municipalities. So I would prefer to go with a design build firm, which we would select through an RFP process. But overall, once the funding's secured, probably 7 to 9 months from the time the funding's secured to the time we're able to open a shelter. We could probably move pretty quickly on it.
So that's the main thing, just finding the fundings, the fund support.
Yeah, if anybody's got $2 million, it'd be great.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Only ones that I can think of right now would be like PetSmart or any of the other pet companies like maybe Doscasel, or it used to be Doscasel, I don't know who it is today, a new company, it's in Arlington. Sometimes they will donate to shelter funds. I don't know who to contact over there because it's been a long time since we've had it, but they used to donate to us. So they may, still do that. They may not. I don't know. But
Okay.
It's an option.
Yeah, definitely a good option to look at, and we'll take note of that and see if we can start reaching out and see what we can make happen there. It's just a matter of if we can make it happen. Now, I will tell you too, as far as bond scheduling goes, we are looking at our next potential bond being a 2027 bond package. So that's kind of a safety net option for us. I really don't want to wait that long. We need this shelter like 10 years ago. I really don't want to wait that long to do this. We do have a little bit of a safety net with the bond package that we might be able to put this into, because it is on our CIP as a top priority project. So if we're not able to secure funding between now and the fiscal year 27 bond package, I would imagine this would be roped in as a top priority, along with streets and water projects that we would likely loop in there too. But one of the other facilities that we need another city hall too. That's one of the next, that's probably our next facility after the animal shelter is the city hall. Our city hall facility is just, we've way outgrown it. Way outgrown it. So whether we buy and renovate or build new, we've got to do something. It's falling down around us.